Coming up, shock in the Senate. Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, dead at 71 years old. The breaking details from his office, how the longtime senator presumably died after medics rushed to his home in D.C., plus the bipartisan reflections pouring in and what's next for his seat in the Senate. Violent night, a 13-year-old boy among two people killed in the district. Our team is tracking it all, looking for answers near a community center and into a double shooting across town. Maryland crash kills 3. What police say happened in Prince George's County before a motorcycle collided with a Tesla.
And there were some showers out there and still are as we speak this particular hour, especially south of D.C. We'll share the latest radar and what to expect for the start of a new work week coming up.
Was rat birth control in D.C.? The New Way leaders are fighting the pervasive rodent problem in the nation's capital. We'll take you to the streets and alleyways where science is being used to tackle the issue. And teaching kids about cash. The tips parents are using right now to teach their kids about financial success. We're stretching your dollar with how the whole family can stay out of the red.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good Sunday evening. Thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 6 o'clock. I'm Ben Dennis. Breaking news tonight, South Carolina U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham is believed to have died after a serious heart event from arteriosclerotic heart disease. His office is citing the D.C. medical examiner, saying the preliminary examination findings were aortic dissection due to arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. The death certificate will be pending until all the toxicology and microscopic testing are finalized. The longtime senator's office first said he died overnight after a brief sudden illness after medics were called to his Capitol Hill home last night. Reflections on the 71-year-old's life are pouring in tonight. There's a look this evening outside of his home. A bouquet has been placed. In a few moments, how Senator Graham is being remembered by Republicans and Democrats after he just returned to the U.S. from a trip to Ukraine to meet with President Zelensky. Plus, what comes next for the Senate race in South Carolina. 4 people were shot overnight in the district. 2 were killed in a series of violence that rang out over 4 hours. Among the dead, a 13-year-old boy. Police suspect an underage suspect took off on a bike near a community rec center. DC News Now's Dave Laval joins us live from the Rosedale neighborhood in Northeast. Dave, what can you tell us?
Well, at this point, Ben, any loss of life due to violence is truly heartbreaking. But when the victim is a child, there's a lot of anger and tears. This is where a bullet ended the life of a 13-year-old boy. Police said they responded to the shooting just before 8:30 Saturday night. Neighbors told us it happened in front of this house along Rosedale Street near 16th Street Northeast. Police said they found the victim unconscious and not breathing from a gunshot wound. He died at the scene. Police are looking for a black juvenile male who wore a black shirt, black pants, and rode away on a black bicycle. All of this has left neighbors shocked.
I'm sad to hear this. I'm very sad. I have kids of my own. It's a tragedy.
Another deadly shooting happened in Northeast about an hour later, this time along a section of Minnesota Avenue. Police have not said if they're still looking for a suspect. And the violence does not end there. Police reported gunshots wounded 2 people around 12:30 this morning along Martin Luther King Jr. Southeast. Again, no word if police are still looking for the gunman. You're asked to contact police if you have any information about either one of these cases. We're live in the Rosedale neighborhood in Northeast. Dave Laval, DC News Now.
Thanks to Dave. A lot of tragedy. Appreciate it. Overall, violent crime is about even with last year's numbers here in the district. Homicides reportedly down 42%, with around 51 homicides so far this year compared to 88 last year. This is according to data from D.C. Police. But assault with a dangerous weapon has increased with 649 incidents this year. We're at 451 last year. That uptick, 44%. Meantime, tragedy unfolded overnight in Prince George's County. That's where 3 people died in a serious car crash involving a motorcycle. The wreck in Upper Marlboro happened just before 1 o'clock. State troopers said Tesla was making a turn from Crane Highway onto Governor's Park Lane. It failed to yield the right of way to a motorcycle. 2 people on the bike and a person in the back seat of the Tesla died on scene. The Tesla's driver suffered serious injuries but is expected to be okay. All victims remain unidentified, and investigators have not said whether any Tesla driver assistance features were in use at the time of the crash. All right, time is 6:05. We're going to take a live look at the National Mall tonight. You notice anything missing? Well, the Ferris wheel is no longer there after the Great American State Fair. Cleanup continues. The Ferris wheel, it's gone, but plenty of the fencing and those temporary buildings along the mall's perimeter still need to be removed before folks can return to America's front yard. Meteorologist Scott Sumner is standing by with a look at the forecast. Scott, all right, let's size up the start of our work week for success. Fingers crossed here.
Yeah, successful forecast start to the new work week is certainly in the cards for us. Right now, though, we still have some showers, spotty in nature. None of this severe. Didn't expect it to be severe at all because the front's well down to the south and the humidity levels are going down. Even though it is humid out there right now, the humidity levels between where we are and about, I would say 15,000 feet up in the atmosphere has been hanging around today, and that's why these showers were created due to more of an easterly fetch of wind and the sea breeze kicking in. So we have that to contend with for several more hours, but I think when we get back on air around 9 o'clock, things will be much quieter here across the DMV. Again, none of this serious, none of this, detrimental with regards to, hunker on down. There are some rain showers out there at this point in time, more than not. The high today, because of the clouds and some of the showers, around 85. The average should be 90. And right now, we're sitting at 83 degrees under cloudy skies. What will happen tonight? What will the temperatures be when you wake up on your Monday? And what about the 7-day forecast? I have an answer to those questions coming up.
All right, Scott, thank you. Back to our coverage of the sudden death of South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham after medics responded to a 911 call at his Capitol Hill home overnight. Leaders across the aisle are remembering the work of Graham as he sought a 5th term in the United States Senate. News Nation's Maddie Beartemple reports from the Hill, including what's next for his seat in Congress.
Senator Lindsey Graham's office announced his death on X early Sunday, writing that his family appreciates prayers at this time and asks for privacy.
Tributes are pouring in for South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. He died Saturday night after a brief and sudden illness, according to his office. Graham had just turned 71 Thursday.
He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually.
President Trump on NBC's Meet the Press Sunday says he and Graham spoke just last night after Graham returned from Ukraine. He says Graham told him he felt good but was tired.
He was a worker. No, he was really a worker.
Graham was a close ally of President Trump, even though they started as competitors in the 2016 presidential race. He served 3 decades in Congress and was known as a foreign policy hawk. Fellow South Carolina Senator Tim Scott called him a great friend and statesman on ABC's This Week.
It is a rare thing in politics, a rare thing in life to find people who are actually your friend.
Democrats also shared memories with Graham, saying he could work across the aisle. Delaware Senator Chris Coons recalled some of their trips together.
He was one of the funniest men I've ever known. In a tense diplomatic situation with a challenging meeting, he could break the ice. He could make everybody crack up.
South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace says Graham loved America.
He was a giant, whether you liked him or not. When he walked into that room, he was ready to fight.
President Trump ordered flags at half staff for Graham until next Saturday. He posted on Truth Social that details on funeral arrangements would follow.
South Carolina's Republican governor will appoint someone to serve out the rest of Graham's term through January. And since Graham was running for re-election, the state will hold a special GOP primary in the coming weeks to pick a new nominee. Maddie Beartemple, News Nation, Washington.
Well, tonight, Maryland Democrats are still trying a second time to redraw congressional seats after a failed effort earlier this year. State lawmakers will meet for a special session next month to consider a constitutional amendment. Lawmakers will head back to Annapolis the first week of August, all to consider letting voters decide on a constitutional amendment intended to help clear the way for a congressional map expected to further favor Democrats. Even if the amendment were passed in November, redistricting would not apply to the midterm races this fall. Here's Governor Wes Moore after the special session was announced.
I'm very encouraged about where we are. I have been saying now for months that Maryland must respond and Maryland must act, and we will be calling a special session. We will be coming back and addressing this issue. And I'm glad to see that we now have not just the House but also the Senate now that is on board to say that at a time when our democracy is under attack, Maryland cannot just sit down and sit on our hands.
Meanwhile, Maryland Republicans released a statement saying that a special session should solve real problems, not D.C. politics.
We don't want your vanity arts. We don't want your vanity arts. Not here. Not here. Not there. Not there. Not anywhere.
A rally outside of a key hearing considering President Trump's proposed arch at Arlington National Cemetery. The protest outside of the National Capital Planning Commission, which we see and hear, that included veterans, preservationists. They're arguing against the arch, which would dwarf the Lincoln Memorial. But the Planning Commission approved the preliminary site and building plans. That calls for the 250-foot structure to be built in between Memorial Circle, between the Lincoln Memorial and Arlington National Cemetery. The commission is recommending the design be revised to comply with the federal law, limiting building heights to preserve the city's skyline. Protesters believe Congress should have a final say.
His name and his image and his imprint on things all across our city is undemocratic. The law states that new monuments and memorials in Washington, D.C. must be approved by Congress. He's totally bypassed Congress.
The commission also wants more information about traffic patterns and how the arch would impact nearby roads. All 4 Democratic senators from Maryland and Virginia are pushing against President Trump's plans to take over D.C. public golf courses. They sent the administration another letter continuing to call for more transparency after they say they did not hear back from a request they sent 5 months ago. They added there needs to be more information given about the scope of redevelopment, what the plans are to preserve public spaces and important artifacts like the oldest grove of Japanese cherry trees in D.C. The renovations for the East Potomac Golf Course are set to start in the fall, but a judge has paused construction until an ongoing lawsuit has been settled. Saying the district, the rat problem is so pervasive, families have been willing to try nearly anything to get rid of them, including a brand new effort. The city is giving the rodents birth control. D.C. health leaders are testing out the program in Eastern Market and in Adams Morgan. They've also launched a new dashboard showing their attack plans. Daniel Hamburg reports.
Rats like to find food sources, and in Adams Morgan, there are plenty.
It has to do a lot with the trash, especially in the back. In the backside is disgusting.
Since April, D.C. Health has been using bait, tracking powder, and birth control in what it calls a data-driven rodent blitz.
I still see the rats and they're huge, starting to look like New York out here. You know what I'm saying? But it's gotten better, absolutely.
Some business owners disagree.
Whatever birth control they got going on is not working.
ANC Commissioner Josh Jacobson is testifying about his concerns Monday in front of the D.C. Council.
In those lab settings, the rats need to be eating that food for 50 days. Before they see an effect on fertility. And that's the food that they're eating constantly. And we don't know that these rats are actually eating that same food source over and over again.
The new rodent control dashboard shows this year more than 5,000 311 complaints have been made, though Jacobson says direct data from Open Data DC shows that number is actually more than 10,000.
Actually, I have not seen a lot of rats lately. No. Maybe it's working.
D.C. Health says they have a 99.99% resolution rate when reports are made. More than 9,800 boroughs have been identified and treated across all 8 wards.
Daniel Hamburg reporting the next pilot location for this program will be Chinatown starting this month. Next Wednesday and Thursday, D.C. Health will host its annual Rodent and Vector Control Academy. They're going to have experts available to answer any questions. Yikes, not just baiting with cheese anymore. Coming up, how to teach kids how to manage money before they reach adult age. We're helping you stretch your dollar with a path to financial fluency for everyone. Taking a live look outside. Gorgeous Sunday. Felt a little less sticky, I thought, today than yesterday. Scott Sumner has a full look at your forecast, what it might look like 7 days from now. Coming up.